Good day, fellow champions of inclusion. I am Aaron, and this is the Inclusive Dad podcast where we explore inclusion and make it practical. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me in exploring ways we can create a more inclusive world together. You are important, you matter, and you can make a difference. Today, my guest is Stephen Wagstaff. Welcome to the show.
Aaron, pleasure to be joining you. It's been a while, but I'm glad
Yeah.
we made it work.
Is it Stephen or Stefan?
The French would say Stefan, but I'm not French, so we're going with Steve
Okay.
or
Sounds
Steven,
good.
whatever you feel
I,
like.
I like your haircut too, so we got that going.
Yes, we style it very similar.
Yeah. People like, hey, you're bald. And I'm like, it saves a lot of time in the shower and stuff.
You
It's
wouldn't
nice.
believe, yeah. That's why I said, well, I outgrew mine, my fuzz on my face. I just tell my wife I outgrew my hair.
Well, this morning I trimmed the top, and then I was like, I should trim my beard because it's getting kind of unruly. But I'm like were discussing, it's gonna get cold the next couple of days. I'm like,
That's it. Men
why would I
need
shave it shorter when it's cold out?
men need beard. Manly men need beards if they can grow
Yeah,
them.
for sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I'm really excited to be doing this. Pleasure to be here.
Why don't you just start us off by just telling us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Sure. Uh, well, you got the name right, Stephen Wagstaff. Live in Canada, Eastern Canada. Used to live in more central Canada, cottage country. Living, we had a house on the water growing up. But when I was 19, um, I was hanging out with some friends, just innocent fun, no alcohol or drugs involved, just clean fun with guys hanging out. And um, they were in a river. We were getting ready to head up to our church youth group that night, and I was didn't have any intentions of swimming, but you know what it is when a couple guys are horsing around and you're the old one that's out. Being the funny one I just all fully clothed, barreled down the dock, and what I assumed was about 10 feet of water because it looked like they were treading water. It turned out they were on their knees. And
Oh,
so I thought it was a big depth, so I didn't think anything of it, but there was really only about 4 feet of water. And so my forehead hit the sandbar after I'd sprinted down the dock, about 60 feet dock. So instantly broke my neck at the fifth cervical, and that dented my spinal cord. And so I had no movement from my neck down instantly. I couldn't move shoulders. Just I could turn my head a bit, but um, just trying to make sense of it, laying there staring at the silty bottom as the dirt tried to settle. And it was probably only 10, 15 seconds before my buddies saw me, but that was the longest 2 hours it felt like of holding my breath, praying that someone saw me. And anyway, they turned me over, floated me there at the scene, and then life hit fast forward from there. Flown to Toronto, spent a year in rehab hospital there, and then 7 years after at a rehab hospital closer to home, and was able to gain some upper body movement. Hands don't work, but just have the ability to move your arms opens up a whole world of being able to feed yourself, being able to drive. And so I'm incredibly blessed to have those movements. A year or so after I was at a hospital, I couldn't figure out why this young girl kept visiting hospital. I didn't ever think, being now paralyzed from the shoulders down, that a relationship or anything was ever in the cards. I thought they were just being friendly, but one particularly friendly girl has stuck with me, and so I dated for 3 years, and we were married. And Julie we're coming up to 26 years on the 18th, so a couple of weeks. And just through that time, just have weathered, I guess we call storms. I lost a child, lost a younger sister, to cancer, age 37, leaving behind 11 kids, ages 13 down to a newborn. Same time, both my wife and I lost parents. And then my health declined. And while I was in hospital for 7 months, my wife dealt with 2 major cancer surgeries. And so we've determined that through it all, that God has had a plan for this. We like to say we don't want to waste our scars. And from that, we started the nonprofit organization in the US and in Canada called SwagAbility. It's just a combination of Stephen and Wagstaff growing up playing sports. I was always called Swag or Swag. And so SwagAbility is a nonprofit, a charitable organization for those people that are going through traumatic circumstances or coming back from traumatic circumstances, for those that fresh with a disability or an illness, cancer come into their life, anything that has turned their life upside down. SwagAbility wants to walk through that valley of that shadow of darkness with them, whether that's financial assistance, caregiving support, adaptive products, assistive technology, all with the idea that we can provide temporary relief with some of those things, but with the desire to build that relationship where we can present the only true hope, and that's the gospel of saving faith through Jesus. So that's a long-winded answer to a little bit about myself.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that detail. Before we started recording, did you say you were a pastor too at some point?
Yeah, I went back
Okay.
to school at 27 and got my degree in my theology degree. Boy, it's been that many years. Yeah, and so I went to a seminary and then pastored 3 churches that loved to do it, loved public speaking, loved preaching. But when my wife was going through her cancer surgeries and things, my place was at home, and my stress level couldn't handle both. And so I knew God was calling me to take care of the second most important thing in my life next to God, and that was my wife. And so since that time, my health is just being 30 plus years with quadriplegia. Yeah, I was saying before we got on, when I got to my mid 40s, something happened, and all of a sudden life seems to be an uphill climb now as opposed to something a little more level. But not to complain, we're blessed, and we're grateful that God's given us this ministry to walk through, like I said, these dark times with individuals who we offer, as a licensed pastor, we offer free counseling, life coaching as well on top of that. So it's kind of a jackknife of tools to help people through the worst times in their life. And so that's our God-given heart desire, is to help.
Thank you. What is your definition of inclusion?
It's definitely not the world's. And I say that with loving everyone. To me, inclusion is, when it comes for me in the field of disability, specifically when I say inclusion, I think the mind shift has to change from doing things for individuals with disabilities. There's a time and a place, and I think it's great, and we offer that ourselves, right? But from doing things for and to people with disability, and to doing things with. There's a big difference between to and for, in my mind. Doing things with people with disability, because we still have innate value, we still have worth. We're made in God's image, and we want productivity in life. We want to help So we appreciate the support we get, and I don't diminish that at all. But I think if we could maybe start to switch the mindset to doing things with people with disability, whether that's employment, whether that whatever that looks like, ministry in your church. We're always doing for, but I think if the world could get a handle on doing things with, using the values and gifts that every person has with every sort of disability, um, God's given people a purpose for their life while they're here. And that would be my definition of inclusion. Not what you feel like, not what you think you are, but what God has made you. And that I think that's the closest that I can get, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. I mean, I think I understand what you mean when you're speaking of changing from doing something for somebody to with them. Do you have an example of maybe like
For sure.
what it would look like in both situations?
Yeah, like, well, for starters, there's not a lot of, I'm not picking on churches anywhere, but you think of a church, like, what is, how many churches have a ministry for individuals with disabilities? There may be some, but not a lot. But I would be happy if there was something for them. But it could be asking someone in the church that has a disability to work alongside the pastoral team. How better to reach people with in that community than having people that know disability, lived experience with it, that can use their giftedness, use their voice, use their platform to work alongside um, someone doing things with. Would be even in the employment, the discrepancy. And I get it. We sometimes people can't work full days or whatever, but even in full-time work, the wage discrepancy is really, I think the average um, wage is, I think, $6,000 US for people. I don't know if that's part time or full time. I'm assuming part, but um, yeah, I would say it's looking at what value they bring to the world and then finding an area where productivity for that individual, maybe it's encouragement. If they're if they're believers, they obviously have a spiritual gift, and finding that and building something around them. So you're doing things with them for kingdom purposes or even employment purposes, as opposed to just taking care of them. And let me say, I don't diminish taking care of the Bible calls us the sick, the widow, the lame. That's You're right. The church is a hospital, but I think doing things alongside um, not only encourages other people, certainly would be a confidence boost for that individual with a disability. It gives them, I do have something to offer the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that explanation. That I appreciate that. So yeah, I grew up Baptist and like the Baptist where you can't do anything fun, like you can't go to movies or listen to rock and roll or play, I mean all the all that stuff. So yeah, I
I
mean
was
I
raised same thing.
okay.
I know that the Baptists, the do's and don't lists, but
Yeah.
yeah, but when you're under your own roof,
Yeah.
the do's and don'ts don't apply. It's just when you go to church and you've had a
Right.
knockdown, drag out fight on the way, but you shut the door at church with a holy smile on your face. Yeah. So been there,
So
done that, and then as I grew older, learned to. My dad was a pastor, so you
okay.
can expect I rolled into that. So, but to own my own faith and not ride my parents' coattails.
Yeah.
Um, and I did. I searched world religions. Uh, I looked it all over, but I couldn't help but come back to the the person of Jesus Christ, what he did, the evidence for his life, and it's the best explained reason that for me that is true. And so I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. That was funny when you're talking about, yeah, you have a fight on the way to church and you get there and hey, everybody's happy.
Praise God, brother.
So it wasn't just a Minnesota thing. That's good to know.
No, this means Canada, you name it.
Yeah.
Baptists, yeah. There's that one joke where the Baptist was stranded on the island, and he finally got rescued, and they saw these buildings and places he set up and everything like that. And he's telling them about, this is the store I did my shopping in, and this is the church here, and then there's another one over here. And he's like, well, you got two churches. He's like, well, this was a Baptist one. I couldn't get along with anyone there. I mean, he was on his own on the island, but yeah, having a church split on even on your own. So
yeah, that's funny. Um, what does it really mean to thrive where life finds you, and how did that become your life's mission?
To me, thriving in life, there's existing. And I think we've all been in a place, whether you're disabled or not, where you've just been stuck in a place, and you just feel like you're existing. You don't know what your purpose is. You're getting up every day. It's like Groundhog Day, same hours. You're video gaming, maybe at home or whatever. You're going through life, and you're just wondering for the reason why. And to me, thriving is finding out the why. Why am I here? And the what. What can I do to add productivity to my day? Because at the end of the day, when you're finished, being able to, there's days, of course, where we need off and need rest, and even months where we need sabbaticals. But thriving is plugging in and actually, for me, putting my wheels on the floor in the morning, looking forward to what the day has in store for me. That's thriving as opposed to existing. And thriving where life finds you. That was something I think God gave me when I was in hospital back in 2023. I didn't know if I was coming out. I'd run my course of antibiotics and become resistant to about 98%. And I thought, if I get out, what's my legacy? Yes, I've spoken. Yes, I pastored, but what do I want to be known for? God put a burning desire in my heart to reach people who I know best, those that are hurting, those that maybe have lost a child, those that have lost parents, those that are going through marriage difficulties. We near lost our marriage when my wife hit caregiver burnout. And so coming alongside those individuals, walking them through the dark times, and then whatever tools they need to be able to supply those tools so that they can be in a better place to not just get up every morning and do, but get up every morning with a purpose and be like, okay, I'm looking forward to what my day has. And so we certainly want to help explore those areas and find people something where they can plug in with the worth that God valued them with.
Yeah, thank you. What advice would you give to caregivers who feel unseen, exhausted, or on the edge of burnout?
I wish my wife were here to answer that question, but just for the short time I did it, it is so much easier being the sick person in bed. I'll be honest with you, than I found in being a caregiver during her cancer surgeries. Sitting there watching someone suffer and having no control over the outcome of their life, you realize that I'm helpless to do anything other than care for their needs, whatever that looks like. And I would say the first thing for someone that's a family caregiver that has reached that point, call us. You need some rest, and we would like to provide some professional caregiving to come in for a period of time while you go decompress, go take a vacation, stay at home, read a book, let us care for that loved one through a professional organization. And it gives them also the ability to let go and say, wait a second, maybe I don't have to be the one doing this. Maybe someone can come in and caregive and everyone's okay with it. I dreaded it last year, last year at 48. I did not want someone coming into my home. I thought maybe at 65 I'd accept it, or 70. But then I had no choice when my wife was sick. And now I don't know what I would do without my caregivers that come in. They have given me my marriage back. But to those people, I would say hold on. And number two, get in touch with someone, because what happens then is resentment builds up. And my wife, when we were in counseling, used that word, I resented you. And she said, I never thought I'd get to that place in our marriage. And I said, it was vice versa. I didn't ask for things that I was in desperate need of because I didn't want to set her off. Or so you have two people that are existing under a house that one's at extreme frustration, the other's at extreme like upset that they don't want to ask for something, but how else can you go for a period of time without getting help with the bathroom or to get a drink? So yeah, they need to contact someone and get reprieve. And I don't care what that looks like, because it will eventually be for the better of the individual with the disability, and it will be better for them as well. And the other thing I would say is hard conversations need to be had, especially with family members. One person's living closer but doing all the caregiving, well, and there's another one that's not. Well, maybe there's a financial portion that those people that can't do it but are living far away maybe can contribute so that professional care can come alongside. Or, there's a time is worth someone doing that time is valuable. They're giving of that time. Maybe they can be financially helped out on that, and so that they're able to, move forward in life. So it doesn't always have to be about money, but reaching out for the first thing, and then secondly is being willing to have those difficult conversations. And I would say the third would be seek counseling where there's neutral ground. So not with anyone that knows you, not with anyone, maybe not your pastor, because he may know me better than he knows my wife. You need someone that's neutral, doesn't know either of you, because then you can share your validated feelings and figure out that, okay, maybe Julie, you can do this differently that you never thought of. And that's not taken as an attack from someone that, oh, Steve knows. Those three things I think are important: neutral ground, reaching out, and having hard conversations.
Yeah, that's all great advice. Yeah. I mean, not a full-time caregiver for my daughter. She comes to our place a couple times a week, but I mean, it's her mom is with her all the time, and it's definitely hard, and I mean, it's hard to ask for help sometimes. I mean, as a dad, I wanna be able to do it all myself, but I mean, more recent years, you realize like I'm 48, I can't. I mean, also when she was, smaller, you could just pick her up and move her around, and now you can't do that, so you have to adjust, and sometimes that means reaching out to people and asking for help, or trying to find other resources to, supplement to be able to keep her at home as long as possible. So I understand what you're saying.
And it is always changing.
Yeah.
It is true. I didn't like to think of it that way, but and I think it helps too for a caregiver to understand that. And I would say this: when I was the dean of men, I would always talk to the young men in my office that would see me and be like, "How do you do it?" But because you have a disability, and I'm not afraid of that word, but we all got to realize that we came into this world needing assistance and support for everything. And there'll come a time, so we move through different degrees of abilities. You may get an injury at work. That's still a disability or whatever, and that it may heal, but we move in and out of these terms: able-bodied, disabled body, able-body, disabled body. And the same thing goes for the amount of care. You'll be sick sometime, and your wife is going to need to nurse a man cold back to health, and vice versa. So we all move through these stages. Sometimes it's a little more lengthy, but there will be a time when that caregiver is going to be on the receiving end of care. And I think it's good for them to ask themselves, how would I want to respond to that if I were vice versa? And I'm not pinning it on caregivers, but it's the same for the person with the disability. It's like, well, what if you were caring for that individual and you heard, can you please, multiple times in a day? So it's having an open mind. And like I said, when conversation stops flowing, that's when aggravation builds up, and then you've got the perfect storm. So it's got to have communication.
Yeah, for sure. What's one moment in your journey that completely changed how you see disability or caregiving?
A great question. Can you give it to me once more? Yeah.
What's one moment in your journey that completely changed how you see disability or caregiving?
For me, I'll go with the disability one first. I think it was early on in my injury. I went from at 19 playing a high level of baseball, thinking that was a possibility to certainly be in the minor leagues. That was obtainable for me. As a fit, independent athlete, to now having everything done for him. And when I say everything, from head to toe, from grooming, washing my face, to the full other end. And that was a very difficult adjustment period for me, going from, and there's also, I was filled with pride. I was a very prideful young man and still battle it these days. And the aha moment came when I said, I'm not leaving my private room because I am not one of them. One of them meaning a disabled individual, especially a quadriplegic. I had Googled it, or had someone Google it, and I wasn't going to be the one that was tied into a power chair with a big gut, no hands. That was my image of what a quad would look like. And so I fought tooth and nail every day to stay in that private room, not seen. This is where I'll stay the rest of my life. To going on an outing, they were able to get me out of my room when I was able. I still had a halo on and everything bolted to my head to hold my head from turning. That's not the angel halo. It's a vest that is nailed, screwed to your head and held on so it keeps your neck from turning. But I went on an outing to watch a Jays game, and there were 25 or 30 of us on this bus, and we got downtown Toronto. We were supposed to eat at the Hard Rock Cafe outside of the stadium and then go in, and they dropped us off at an entrance where there was like 25 stairs into the restaurant. And so here all of us were standing, and I thought to myself, I was so embarrassed. And then I realized that every person on the street was like, how can we help you like get to where you're going to do? And I received help for the first time. And I was overwhelmed at how gracious those people were, and how some of these veterans that had been injured for a long time, their humor, they're laughing at ourselves. I learned to laugh at myself, learned to laugh with others, at myself and at others. And then humor became the greatest tool in my life. So I think I learned early on that our pride needs to be broken, first of all, and then accepting your new position as something you can't do anything about. So you can cry, which I tried. You can be angry at God, which I tried. Or you can choose to thrive and move on and accept what help you can. And so that was the aha moment for me that really changed my perspective on disability. In terms of caregiving, I think the 2 points were the first time would have been when I had to care for my wife after her cancer, 2 major cancer surgeries. And I had a new appreciation, and she was still doing things for herself. It was not even completely close to what she did for me, but it gave me an eye opening to how tiring that is. And then we went to counseling because our marriage was in shambles. And as a pastor, you never want to admit that. But that counseling, who I despised the first 2 sessions, but when I started to open up and learn and acknowledge things, that really opened my eyes and changed my perspective on what it was like in a small portion for caregivers. So I don't
Yeah.
even know if I answered your question.
Yeah. No, you did. Yeah, I
Okay.
appreciate that. Yeah, it's interesting, yeah, how something happened in your life and then it you changed. That's interesting. Like I liked your story about your realizing that people want to help and
They do.
learning how to accept help. I don't know if that's a guy thing or what
It
that is,
is.
but
And
want to do it on your own. Laughter.
humor, God,
Yep.
even before my accident, that was the card in school that I was getting either kicked out or whatever, but it's just because my mouth never closed. And as you can see, it still talks a lot. But um, humor, there's a place for it. I was talking on another podcast, and I was telling about humor and how God uh, in Proverbs was writing about how a merry heart, a joyful heart, does the body good, but a dry spirit dries out the bones. So even God and Jesus would have had a sense of humor, and so um, being able to laugh in life is just another emotion next
Right.
to crying that is an avenue to just get out what's inside you.
Yeah, for sure. What do you most want listeners to take away from your story and the mission behind Swagability?
From my story, I would like people to know that you you don't need to don't if you have air to breathe in your lungs, even if that's assisted, and your eyes blink, um, you have value, not just in the sight of God, and you also have an ability with the tools and technology we have now. While you're on this earth, you have the ability to change someone's life, to to make a difference in someone's life. That's not harshness. That's reality. You have worth, and I say that to people that have less movement or whatever condition they're in, or going through, or maybe they're hearing this and they're in the midst of their a spinal cord injury or cancer, whatever. You still have value while you have breath, and I would say realize that whatever you're going through has given you a new platform that others don't have, to be able to get your message across. And often that will influence someone's life. And so don't ever doubt your influence. And the second part B to that question was, sorry, I lost track. It was the, what do
What
I
do you
want?
want
What do I want most?
Swagability?
Yeah, about SwagAbility. To be honest with you, two things would help us. The first one would be that you would go to our YouTube page. Just go to SwagAbility Inc. Or type SwagAbility Thrive. Any of those words will get you to our logo. If you would subscribe and like or comment what you would like to see in further videos of the interviews we have there. That would really help the growth of our podcast, as well as get us into the partnership program with YouTube. And with that, monetization would help us be able to help others. So that would be the first thing I'd ask. The second would be if it all, this resonates with you and you like what we're doing, and go to our website, SwagAbility.com. And if you have the means and God's placed it on your heart, my wife and I are personally carrying this with our own finances. But 2 months ago, we got to the place where we were deciding how much of bills can we pay and how much of SwagAbility can we still keep moving forward. And financially, it would mean a lot. We were going to open up a 5 to Thrive campaign that will soon be starting, and we're just looking for monthly donors that could possibly sign up for $5 a month. And just being one of 5,000 people, 10,000 people, 400 people, whatever, at $5 a month would make a drastic impact of who we support. We were just able to finish supporting financially a family while their father passed away and there was no income coming in. We were able to cover their income for a period of 4 months so that the wife could stay home and be with her husband. And so these are the kind of missions that we do. We were able to get assistive technology to another individual that got him active in a chair. We donated a power chair. So those things cost money. And as you know, if you're not working, disability doesn't pay a whole lot. So those are two really long-winded answers to subscribe. And if you can so be moved, join our monthly giving program. And I can send those links for the show notes if you want. But
Yeah,
it'd be a great
please, yeah,
listening.
send those to me and I can make sure they're in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
For sure. What is one tip that you can share to help the listeners be more inclusive today? So just something anybody can start doing today to be more inclusive.
Ask questions. Ask questions to someone with a disability or whatever. Don't be afraid to ask them. Maybe if it's just happened to them, maybe give them some time. There's nothing wrong with asking someone their story. Phrase it like that, not why are you crippled or why are you disabled. Ask them, do you mind if I ask you your story? That's probably one of the greatest things you can do for a person with a disability, because in some small sense, it attributes worth to us and a platform where we're about to share. And you develop a friendship with that individual. And people with disabilities of any kind, 90% of them, number one, most likely have a sense of humor, and two, could use an extra individual in their life that truly cares for them and wants to know, how can I help you? Tell me your story, and how can I add value to your life today? And those two questions would mean the world to anyone. So don't be shy. I would say that, as much as a taboo that might be, like, it's not. It really isn't. People want to tell their story.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Thank you. Where's the best place for everybody to connect with you? Where you kind of already discussed, or is there a
Yeah,
better
no,
place?
definitely YouTube. Subscribe. You can comment on there as to what you would like to see, or my wife and I are an open book. You can ask any question from sexuality to dating to what have you. There's nothing we shy away from. We want to be completely transparent and will be. So you can go to swagability.com, sign up for our newsletter. You can donate there, or we have a better spot through our partner Zephy, where there's no fees are taken off. So you can donate there, but go to our website, get to know us, and swagability.com or I would say our YouTube are our two main focuses. YouTube's probably the greatest outlet with, I forget how many billion of people access it every day. So, finding our channel. And if you need support, at the bottom of our website, every page has it. It just says, sorry, I'm real dry, ask the staffs. If you've got a question or you want to connect, hit ask the staffs and we'll connect you. We've stayed well connected with rehab hospitals throughout Canada and some in the US. And we have doctors, physios, nurses that are not only in our family, but who also I've maintained contact with since the day I broke my neck. So, we're here as a resource for you, and we want to help you. We really do. If it's counseling, everything is private. Not even my wife, as a pastor, my wife knows that, things that are said to me in confidence stay in confidence. So, or if you just need to bounce things off a couple that have kicked the can down the road a little further, please do so. Yeah.
Awesome. Are you ready for the last question?
Well, I hope so.
Do you like Spam lunch meat? Yes or no?
I have a texture issue with food, not because it
Okay.
doesn't go down, but because it causes a gag reflex. I've never tasted Spam, but I will say if it's anything like head cheese or something like that my mother used to eat, I think it's what killed her. But she died of cancer. But no, Spam, you'd have to hide it off well or barbecue it. Maybe then you can
Yeah.
get into me.
I've never had head cheese. That just sounds horrible.
It came in a can like that. As soon as I saw the
Okay.
can, I was like, that reminds me of that head cheese goop my mother had. But Spam, put it on a hamburger, and I'd probably eat it.
Yeah, so I asked that question because I live near Austin, Minnesota, where Spam they make it and where the Spam Museum's located. So if you ever come to Minnesota, visit Nick or
Spam
myself,
museum.
you gotta visit the Spam Museum.
I got to come see my buddy Nick, and while I'm there, I got to come and see my buddy Aaron, which I
There you go.
love. Aaron, Aaron. Now I got two reasons.
There you
Oh,
go.
when we travel, we often do come across the Peace Bridge into Detroit, and so
Okay.
I know that's like saying, "Oh, do you know my uncle, someone that lives in Canada?" Uh, I know it's a big state, so but it would be worth my travels to visit the Inclusive Dad. I love
There
what
you
you're
go.
doing. I listen to your podcast, and you've got a great mission and ministry,
Thank
and
you.
I applaud you for that. So, and I thank you for allowing me to, at least in some of the note-taking programs, like Fathom or Fireflies, it tells you how much talking the guest and the things done. I'm pretty sure I would be in the red right now. So, thank you for allowing me to speak many more words than you
Yeah.
to
Yeah, for sure. No
have.
problem. I really appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you so much.
I look forward to seeing the finished copy and when it will be out and that. And I'd love to come
Yeah,
back down the road
sure.
and I'd also love to inquire maybe after this show, but um, getting you on the SwagAbility show,
Sure.
just to talk about what your family dynamics looked like
Sure.
and to learn your story. So
That'd be awesome.
sweet.
To, to those listening, thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. It is truly an honor. Please join the podcast newsletter by clicking on the link in the episode description to keep up with the latest episodes. Together, we can make the world more inclusive. Until next time, stay empowered and be a champion for inclusion.